And we felt like we were pioneering a lot of methods, and a lot of what you're going to hear about best practices tonight are not only what we've learned from other people, but what we learned from ourselves in putting programs together, making mistakes, and kind of learning the old-fashioned way. You try something that didn't work, and then you try it again and try to figure out a better way to do it. And over the last several years, we've been lucky enough, or smart enough, I guess, to win some national awards that we're very proud of. And we'll make reference to a couple of those programs tonight. But on two different occasions, we've won an award, the Magna Award, from the Journal of the American School Boards Association. We're particularly proud of those because I think it recognizes that we've kind of figured it out. We're beginning to understand what works and what doesn't work in terms of doing community engagement programs. We like using what other people say once in a while, and so we've got a couple of quotations for you to look at. The first one is from the new Commissioner of Education in Missouri, but a 20-year client of ours. When we worked at Hazelwood School District, and before that Riverview Gardens, and before that Rittner, it was Dr. Chris Wright. Chris is going by her married name now. And she said the days when a superintendent and school board can sit in a room and make decisions about the future of a district or the future of a community are long gone. And what she means by that is that, in her view at least, and I guess in our view, school districts are not successful today unless they're able to involve the community in all phases of planning. And that leadership in a school district recognizes that and gets the community involved at the get-go in long-range planning rather than at the tail end of it when everything is finished and you kind of say, do you like what we've done or not? And what we believe is important is that the community be involved from the very beginning because, as this quotation says, communities cannot support what they do not understand. Too few citizens have consistent access to reliable information about what is working in public schools and why, and what is broken and why. And at some level, I disagree with this quotation. It's from Education Week. I think it's not that people don't have access to information. This district, I'm sure like a lot of others, spend a lot of time, effort, and money getting information out into the community. The problem is that people aren't paying a lot of attention. And they're not paying attention because they don't care. They're just busy. And they're overwhelmed by information that's on TV and the newspaper, on the radio, about what the kids are doing, what's going on at jobs, whether their house is going to foreclose. It's hard to get people's attention. And one of the things that we'll tell you over and over and over tonight, if we do our job right, is that one of the best things about community engagement is that it's a powerful communications tool, and it's a way of getting two-way communication going between you and the community, and you hearing what they have to say, and the community hearing what you have to say. But it's a vehicle for communications, and it's a way, in a sense, to pull people's attention a little away from American Idol and get it back on the school district that's really important. And that's a message that we're going to talk about quite a bit. And then from Public Agenda, public engagement, it promises that if the public is invited to have more say over what schools should look like, more people will once again recognize them as the public schools as something worth supporting. And this just gets to the point that we have learned over and over again, that if you ask people to be involved, particularly about their school district, because they so inherently and intrinsically know how important they are to a community, they will be involved. And what we're finding out in community engagement programs that we do, or that other people are doing, or that our other districts are doing, if they are run correctly, hundreds, if not thousands of people will be involved, and they become a tremendous tool for two-way communication and a better understanding, the community understanding the challenges that you're facing as a Board of Education, but you understanding better the values and desires that the community has for their public schools. And that's really what community engagement, in my view, is all about. I could finish right now, Dan, and let you take over. And then kind of let's get to work, the Sitting Bull quotation. I'm going to say a few words about research because we rarely take on a program that we don't do public opinion research, but we really don't have enough time to get into it deeply. And what I want to say is that when we get involved in a program, we either do research up front ourselves because it's important, or we look at what the school district may have previously done and can utilize that. But it's important when you're involved in communications, whether you're in a for-profit business or whether you're in a not-for-profit business, to base a lot of those communications on solid research. First reason, I want to spend just a minute talking about why research is important. Talk is cheap, nothing else is. And what I mean by that is that a lot of organizations spend a lot of money on communications and they don't really know whether it's working or not. There's a saying in marketing, I got a marketing budget, half of it's working, half of it's not. I just don't know which half is which. The reason you do research is to try to figure that out and figure out if we're going to communicate, making sure that it's on target. Intuition is often wrong. I'm looking at the clock, I don't want to go too long on this. And what I mean by that is a lot of time people have intuition about public opinion that may be right, but it may be wrong. A few years ago, we worked, quite a few years ago, for Rittner School District. This district had lost 3 referenda in a row to do facilities. The State Department of Education said they had some of the worst facilities in the state of Missouri, and the school board made kind of the last-ditch decision that they were going to, if the 4th referendum failed, they were going to shut down half the buildings. They were going to take what money they had, scrape it together, fix up the remaining half the buildings the best they could, run one shift of kids in from 6 in the morning till noon. They'd go home another shift from noon to 6. We did public opinion research on that, and the community said, if you can do that and save money, how come you didn't do it years ago? Point being is that intuition of the Board of Education was exactly wrong on that issue, and the research helped them figure out what the community did value about education and facilities and got them on a different track in terms of improving the facilities in that building. By the way, we presented with the Director of Communications at Rittner School District, and we've worked with that district now for 20 years at the National School Public Relations Association. And the topic of the conversation was how research-driven communications can help a school district move forward. And in this case, it was for 2 decades. Third point, people who attend meetings or make telephone calls are usually not representative of the entire electorate. You know this in every community. People come to meetings, there's internet blogs, there's a lot of activity and a lot of communications. You just don't know if the 10 or 20 or 30 people that come to a board meeting are representative of the entire community, or if they're just representative of the 20 or 30 or 40 people that come to a board meeting, and that's why research is important. It's just as important to find out if 300 people tell you something, if those views are representative of the entire community. And then language matters, and this is one of my favorite examples. And I won't read these to you. This is from Webster Grove School District. Webster was going back on the ballot after they had successfully passed a referendum 5 years earlier. And they were looking at messages to take to the community. And I know we're not talking about referendum tonight, but I love this example about language. You'll read that and notice that 45% of the survey agreed with this. On the very next question, when the superintendent read the questionnaire, he said, you have the same question on there twice. You need to take one of them off. And here's the second question. And what I want you to note is the difference in agree. 45% agree on one, 67.8% on the other. The point being is that language matters a lot when you go to the community, and it appeals to values and preferences that people have that you may not know completely going into this. That first question is a little threatening and harsh. The second question is pretty warm and fuzzy. And Webster Groves, if you've ever been there, is a pretty warm and fuzzy community. But language matters when you communicate to the community, and it's important to learn these lessons about language. And let me quickly go over the rest of these. We're right in the middle of it now. Language matters. You do research to determine the theme and messages of your communications program, your kind of taste great, less filling message that you want to use. Find out where people are getting information, and that's getting more complicated all the time. If you're thinking about referendum, determine if you have a fighting chance or not. But more importantly, the main reason you do research is to develop a roadmap or a plan that helps you from getting to where you are now to where you want to be. And in our view, at least, oftentimes that plan involves some level of community engagement program. I'm not going to cover this except that we and other people do a lot of different kinds of research. The 2 major categories are qualitative and quantitative. The most common type of qualitative research